This is one of the most popular haircuts of 2025, the big hair with a high taper, aka the LaMelo ball. And today I'm going to give you the step-by-step breakdown on how to achieve this look so you can make money behind the chair. As you can see, my guy just happy to be here because today we are going to change his life. This is actually the first time I ever cut his hair, but that's okay because we have a hair cutting system that gives us confidence to know that we are going to give him the exact haircut that he's looking for. And if you notice my voice is a little off, it's because I'm getting over a sickness, but we almost back. But we're going to start off this high taper by establishing our bald line. And we're going to set that line from the top of the arch to where the ear connects to the head and then shave that down. And the reason I like to give myself the reference points of at the top of the hook and where the ear connects to the head is because I know I can apply those reference points to pretty much everybody and establish a nice bald line that we could build that fade with. Now we went in lever open and we went up about a 1/4 inch above that initial bald line. Now we're going to close it all the way to start getting rid of the line in between. And as I move up within this guideline, you'll see me open it little by little. And next you want to grab that one guard with the lever open, and we're going to do the same exact thing, a 1/4 inch that above that previous guideline, and we're working our way up. And you'll notice I'm using the Tomb 45 and Babyliss clippers with the new guards. Man, these guards are fire. But the only way to get these new premium guards is by purchasing the Tomb 45 clipper. So if you're interested in getting this clipper, go to the link in the description and get yours today. And the reason we went with a high taper today is you'll notice in the corners of his hair, they're slightly pushed back. And that's because this client says that in between haircuts, he likes to give himself a lineup. So I told him, if you're going to do that, try to keep those vertical bars as in towards the eyebrows as possible so you don't push that back. So we're doing the high taper, trying to blend into that regrowth so we can start growing that out and getting it back to where it's supposed to be. And you can already see we're pretty much through our steps over here on the right side. So to finish off the steps of our taper, we drop down to the half guard with the lever halfway. And we're going to start getting rid of that line. Now if halfway doesn't do the job, you'll see me close it. And if I need to go higher up into the taper, I use the corner or open up that lever slightly. Now I'm going to use my lever all the way open to corner cut any of those dark spots that you might see.
What is good, Clipperhands fam? I wanted to hop into this video and say thank you for tuning in. I hope you're getting as much game and as value as possible from this video. But also, did you know that 79% of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed? Crazy. But chances are you aren't either. So go ahead and tap the subscribe button for me. It helps me and helps you get this fire content. Now, if you are a barber who wants to grow and take the career to a whole nother level, but want a little bit more than what YouTube has to offer, I want to tell you about Dreclipperhands Academy. This is my online training program where I give you my exact system of haircutting to give out those Instagram quality haircuts in an efficient manner so you can make the most amount of money. And to show you I'm not bluffing, let's look at Aiden. Aiden started the program giving out haircuts like this. And 19 days later, he's giving out haircuts just like this. All by implementing the system of cutting and the process of cutting that I teach in Dreclipperhands Academy. Now let's look at Chris, who started off cutting hair like this and then turned it into this, right? And this is all possible. I try to give you as much game and as much value as I can inside my online training program. Now, if you are interested in signing up, you can do that by tapping the link in the description, and I hope to see you in the community. Without further ado, let's get back into the video.
And now we're going to come over to the other side of the head and establish our bald line, and we're going to work that same exact system that we applied on the other side. Now, a frequent question that I get from a lot of students in my online academy, people in the comment section via YouTube, Instagram, really everywhere, ask me, Dre, how do I get clients? And I wish I could tell you some super secret sauce that's going to get you booked solid, people running in and out the door to come get a haircut from you. But the truth is, the foundational things work. But most barbers don't want to do it because it's not sexy. It's not something that they've seen on social media that looked really nice, right? That's passing out business cards. That's standing on the street. That's posting content consistently despite if it does well or not. It's going to the store and talking to people even when you're not working, right? Because the truth is, as a barber, you're an entrepreneur, and the entrepreneur lifestyle is exactly that, a lifestyle. And you're always going to be wanting to plug your business with new people, right? So when you're at a store and you see someone that looks like they care about themselves, let them know what you do. And if you do the passing of the cards, the posting content online, the standing outside on the street corner if it's warm, the telling people in person, if you do that over a long enough period of time and you keep stacking, you will be booked, right? Now, if you want to make the process of building clientele easier, it's all about joining the right barbershop or the right ship, right? If you get out of barber school and you join a barbershop that is already busy, that already brings people in and out the door, you're obviously going to get booked faster. You're going to put yourself in a better position. But if you choose to go to a barbershop that's new, right, or doesn't have that walk in traffic, like you expected, then it's going to be a little bit slower. And I've learned that opening my barbershop, right? Because I do have the following that I have, I assume that when I open my barbershop, we would be busy right away, right? We would have walk-in traffic every day, no problem. Didn't really have to put work in to get it. But that's far from the truth. I opened in November. It is now currently April. So that's about, 6 going on 7 months we've been open. And the days that are on lock with walk-ins is Friday, Saturday. But that early week, we're trying to build that demand. We're trying to get people in the door by doing the practical steps that I'm telling you guys, right? Because being in the position that I was in a studio for the last 4 years. And when I first started at the barbershop, I started really early. So I had an advantage of building clientele. So when I got my license, I was already pretty much set. But I forgot how spoiled I was, in all honesty. But when I opened my barbershop and I brought new barbers in, right, that are either starting over or starting brand new out of barber school, there's work that needs to take place. It isn't sweet, right? You have to get in the trenches. You have to do the guerrilla marketing tactics, right? The in the mud stuff and the pretty stuff. Because the truth is, a lot of people find it hard to take advice on clientele building from someone who has a bigger following, like myself, because they assume that they have to be in my position in order to get busy. But if I'm being honest, I was really busy before I started getting traction on social media. But when you treat social media like a business and you build your following over time, it does make it easier. Because online presence, right, attention is a currency. And if you get enough attention, right, you're going to get booked and you're going to get clients from social media. But that's not the end all be all. There's things that need to be done before you get there. Right, so the way to get booked is doing the very practical things over a long enough period of time in order to see results. And you have to be patient. You have to remain consistent and know that this is all going to pay off. But now we're getting into the neck taper, and we did our lever all the way open. Now we're coming in with our one guard open right above that, and we're going to work that same exact process and system. Now we're going to come in with that 2-guard lever open. And you'll notice at the top of this undercut, right under the curls, I'm scooping out. I don't want to shave that down to a true 2-guard, because I feel when the hair actually hangs over the taper, it's going to take away that gradients, right? It's going to look just completely shaved. But when you have dark hair falling on top of dark weight on an undercut, it gives the illusion of it being blended, right? So I want to keep the top of the taper as dark as I can. And now to get rid of that last bottom line, we're going to use our half guard closed, and I'm using the corner of the blade to cut against the grain of the hairs towards where his neck lineup will be, because you'll see they start to grow sideways. And now we took the half guard off, and we're using the corner of the blade with no guard, right? And this is just to detail slightly more. And after we get through our steps, we're gonna go ahead and frame it out. So we're gonna go ahead and comb those hairs down, and we want to keep this lineup as natural as possible, you know, while at the same time making sure it's sharp and crisp as well. So I want to make sure that I don't raise above the ear too high, and then we're going to follow that down to the bottom of the neck, keeping it as wide as we can. But you're going to see as soon as we line it up, it really makes that neck taper pop and come to life. And as you can see, we use the Tune 45 trimmer, and these they mow through the hair very well. And I'm using them on the back of the neck because I noticed he started to look very red, and these are a little easier on the skin. And now we're gonna get into his hairline. Now you'll notice with his hairline, he does have a very wide front taper, and I asked him if he liked it that way, or would he be interested in going through the grow out process to shrink it, right, make that line smaller. But he liked it like that. So I said, all right, and now we're going to come in with the 2 guard and taper that down. And the reason most people don't like wide front tapers like this is because when they grow their hair out and they get braids or locks, they wish they would have more hair going into their braids or locks, right? And I think it looks a little more natural, but some people like that wider front taper. And as a barber, I'm going to do what the client wants every time. So we started in the middle, and we're working towards his left corner. Again, as we get into the corner, we want to be careful because this client lines himself up, and he did push himself back when it comes to his vertical bar. So I'm going to try my best to make it as wide as I can, but at the same time prepare it, you know, to bring it back to where it's supposed to be. But we're just framing everything out, putting the final details on this haircut. And now we're going to move over to his right side of the lineup. And on this side is where his hairline is a little more pushed back than on his left. So I'm going to be extra mindful as I get into that corner. Step by step, we're being patient, taking our time. We want to make sure we get this part right. For a lot of people, this is the most important part of the haircut, right? You can do a decent fade and a decent taper, but if that lineup's not sharp, a lot of people are going to think that haircut is not good. So you want to be very mindful. And now, just to make it really sharp and crisp and stand out, in the meantime of it growing back from being pushed back, we are going to use some enhancement. So I'm using my Tune 45 compressor and color. This is the dark brown, and we're going to spray it on the card and let the excess get on the hair. And we're going to do it light and then darken it up as needed. But you're going to see this really enhances the haircut and takes it to like that Instagram quality. And especially on his right corner over here, this is where the enhancements are going to save this. So we'll spray it on lightly and then darken it up as needed, just in the meantime until this hair, you know, grows back where it's supposed to be. And now we're going to put the last little details on this haircut. So you want to stretch the skin in the opposite direction of where you're using the razor, and then bring the razor towards the hairline. This is going to get rid of all the stubble and all the little hairs that the trimmer didn't quite get, and sharpen it up. But as you can see, that high taper is looking super clean. Honestly, I think if this client was to cut his hair off just by looking at his front taper, he would have some nice waves. So maybe eventually I can convince him to do it. Maybe. Now this is a part of the haircut that was very important, right? Because when this client walked in, he told me he wanted a really big trim. But I had a feeling he didn't want as much cut as he's saying, right? So what I started to do is all the excess that kind of hangs over the taper, hangs over the ears, and hangs over the neck taper, I got rid of with my clipper first. So as you can see, I'm kind of freehanding the curls that would cover up the high taper and the curls that cover up the back as well, because from the side view it just looked like he had a mullet and no taper in the back. So we're coming in and scooping out. I'm trying to give it that wedge shape. I don't want it to be a flat top. I want it to flare out just a little bit. And now we're gonna come over to his left side and do the same exact thing. But that's why it's always better to be safe than sorry, right? Because what I could have did is come in and trim the entire thing, right? And he could have left and been like, man, this is way too short, even though he told me this is what he wanted, right? But as a barber, you have to do your best to make an educated guess on what the client wants, and you know, despite on the client's direction, and go from there. Because you're gonna see here in a few moments how much shorter his hair appears just by me doing that. And when I turned him around and I showed him, he said, man, thank God you didn't cut the full 1.5 inches you told me, because this is exactly what I was looking for. But fam, if this video helped you in any way, shape, or form, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and drop a comment down below. But again, if you want to go more in depth, tap into Dreclipperhands Academy, link in the description. Peace.